Now I see how they continue to bewitch the world, and remember, you heard it here first. America has used immigrants as a ploy to continue the control and torture of black communities. Black America is the United States' $2 trillion gold mine. Black American spending power has grown significantly, with some sources estimating it at approximately $1.60 to $1.98 trillion annually by late 2024 and projecting it to reach up to $3 trillion by 2030. This reflects a substantial portion of total U.S. consumer spending, though exact percentages vary by source and year, with one estimate placing it at just under 10% of the nation's total spending in 2019. Black consumers also disproportionately influence certain sectors like beauty, fashion, and entertainment. These dollars are only allowed to stay in the black community for 6 hours before it is immediately taken away. Black America must never unite. There are policies put in place everywhere you turn: tablets, laptops, media, church, courtrooms, schools, government, etc., to encourage division in the black community. Promotion of mixed marriages, no support for black marriages, but other communities never bother to even consider one way or the other on these tactics. The black community is targeted because of the profits that are gleaned out of its communities, and the powers that be are intentional and very dangerous to the black community. This is what Black America means to America: just a profit, nothing more. They expected black communities to riot and protest against the heinous things the government led by Trump against the black community. No other race of people is targeted to be erased from US history besides black Americans, but they say it's not racism. To all of my critical thinkers, and those who are inspiring to be critical thinkers, ask yourself why Black/African Americans are always the core of this country's rage. The Democrats, along with Republicans, invited immigrants into America and placed them in black communities. Why? Could it be that it was all a ploy from the beginning? The immigrants were to come to America after their places of origin were destroyed by the US government. Again, all of my critical thinkers, do your research. Texas, a Republican state governor, began sending these immigrants out to several so-called sanctuary states. Yeah, right. If you ask the average black person, they will tell you there's no such thing as a sanctuary state. Surprisingly, the black community realized that their communities and businesses were the sanctuary cities and states the Democrats and Republicans were targeting, because that's where they sent most, if not all, the so-called illegal immigrants. The media, as usual, fell right in line and covered the narrative of the worst, which was, of course, their go-to when they want high ratings. Chicago, particularly, gets an awful rap in the media. The media has done this city an injustice since Al Capone. To the words of Trump's mouth, it has never gotten a fair chance. Even though these media networks manipulate for ratings, is all fair in America if there's a profit to be made. Furthermore, more immigrants were placed, particularly in black communities and neighborhoods, strategically, all around American cities in black communities. Against the voices of the people, their black Democratic mayors betrayed them and took their tax money and sponsored the illegal immigrants. Again, my critical thinkers, ask yourselves this question: if they were, then why were the Republican Party able to scatter them across these cities with the cooperation of the Democrats? In my opinion, it seems they were pretending to clash within the government, but looking at how things have all turned around and now the black communities are being invaded, it seems it was all a ploy. No one but they knew what was coming next. After this, they decided to start a division by giving the taxpayers money in the black communities and grants to the immigrants, taking from a community that is intentionally underserved by its government. This was done by the Democrats, and the Republicans made them mobile. There has already been an uprising for several years in America's history over the same issues, now spanning over 500 years. Tirelessly, the black community has carried everyone's burdens, and when they look for their share, everyone turns away. The black community has been disenfranchised since the beginning of this country. They've managed to build and watch all their efforts be destroyed. Even today, the banks that were made wealthy off the backs of the black American refuse to lend money to their communities. But here's a fact check: isn't it true the banks After all that wealth, still managed to get welfare from the US government, or as they say, a bailout? A reparation is labeled as a handout. Now, if that wasn't an insult of it all. The first order from Trump to kick out immigrants makes you wonder how conveniently they are placed in black communities, not white communities, which means their neighborhoods would not be disrupted at all. Children will go to bed safe and sound, unboned, ready for school in the morning. As the Department of War changes the narrative from deportation to now, the cities where the Democrats and Republicans together strategically sent the immigrants to black communities are now being invaded. The US president announced that he is considering using these locations to practice for his military. For those who can hear, let them hear. Not a peep from the black community, no protest, nothing but a cry for unfairness, to God not man. Then comes the real plan of the events. President Trump declared war on American citizens and will use these American cities, which are in the black communities, as practice for US military. Question for my critical thinkers: ask yourselves how the narrative seemingly floated from getting rid of illegal immigrants to let's make American cities safe by going to the same cities the government ushered these people in, all while seemingly pretending to clash with one another by deploying the National Guard in the black communities. The new arrivals in these cities, where black communities are flourishing and doing well, despite the propaganda the news media reports, are now, according to the US president, must go to war with these cities to provide safety for the American people. Sounds nice, but is it? Ask all the other countries that have heard the shit before, and they will tell you it's a nightmare that will change your life forever. Black Americans are no stranger to these tactics. The rest of America that cannot relate, I pray for you. In this administration you will eventually know what something like this feels like. This is no conspiracy, this is reality. The National Guards are in the black community to intimidate and inflict harm and terror, even in cities that have lowered crime rates, and the government is well aware of this fact. This is why I perceive they are there to disturb and create chaos. Chicago, for example. Chicago does not live up to the fantasized propaganda that the media holds it to. Out of all the cities in the United States, since Al Capone to Trump, Chicago continues to receive a bad rap from social media influencers, news media actors and outlets, filmmakers, and TV portrayals. It's all a distorted perception. Now, it's an excuse to bring in the National Guard after that crime in the city has gone to an all-time low and is on the decline. Other cities have much more crime. Now here comes the disturbance. To my critical thinkers, do you know how many times the National Guard has been brought into Chicago? It has been 18 times, and all have been based on controlling the black communities. This is all a sideshow. If the people of America won't conclude that we are all puppets being used against one another, we will repeat these same scenarios. While the rest of the world flourishes, we will remain slaves to the elite until one day the elite decides we are all useless. The black, aka African Americans, in America, are resting. There's no explanation, just the Spirit of God in process. What are the rest of you going to do? Will you stay silent like your forefathers who said they disapproved, but did nothing to make things change? Or will you change the laws of this country for the better, starting with the rights of a people that never asked to be here, but were forced to be here? Not deterred but actively fought for the rights of all others of all nationalities to be here in America. It starts with you and your children. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for leaving your comments, support for this channel. Please like and subscribe to this channel. I appreciate your support. God be with you until we meet again.